Hello to our viewers across New Zealand, Australia and the globe. I'm Philip Duncan from weatherwatch.co.nz, and to our global audience, thank you so much for joining us for the last couple of months. But I have to say we've come to an end of making our regular overseas global videos. We're not going to completely stop though, but they really sort of came about because of the lockdown in Auckland over September and October. And while the lockdown feels a bit never-ending, we do have to draw a line in the sand for making these extra videos for you. But in saying that, we've been speaking to IBM, our business partners. We're working on some better graphics. So hopefully in 2022 and hopefully in the earlier side of 2022, we can get back to doing some more regular videos outside of just the New Zealand area, covering the South Pacific Islands. I'd like to cover that a bit more, because they do seem a little bit not talked about as much. That's usually because the weather's not that changeable. It's usually, afternoon thunderstorms, but we will cover that a wee bit more, especially with La Nina developing, and also some more Pacific-wide storms covering parts of Asia and the Americas. So we're not completely done, but just maybe not quite as regular. Let's get into this video today though, and we are covering off with Australia from last night. Very dramatic situation last night across Australia. Look at this beautiful map. It shows convergence. That's when you get the clouds that bubble up and you get the thunderstorms. They were in this area here where it all looks a bit crazy. On the other side, that's the cold front coming in with a much cooler southerly flow. Cold front's right there, sparking the thunderstorms ahead of it. And by the way, this is what it looked like on the thunder map last night. What's remarkable to me about this is that the thunderstorms go all the way from Melbourne through the desert and up to Darwin. You don't see that every day. So that's a very big system, and it's now clearing away to the east. So Canberra and Sydney have also got a temperature drop right now. So let's take a look and see what that means as we move forwards. And this is the setup. We've got low pressure in the New Zealand area sort of falling apart. The forecasts have been a bit messy. Some places have had rain when forecast and the rain didn't really turn up until much later on. Frustrating when that happens, I know, but that's what happens when you have these weak, slow-moving lows coming through. Very hard to get the timing right. You know it's going to rain, you just get the timing wrong, and that's what we found a couple of times in the last day or so. So, apologies from us. You don't hear many weather forecasters say honest things like that. On the other side of the Tasman Sea, there's the system leaving Australia, so that's on its way to New Zealand, and it arrives here by about Sunday. Won't be as dramatic, but it still is going to drop the temperatures here. Look at this. This is the departure from normal for Australia for today, and the areas in blue, below average by 4 to 8 degrees. So that is that cold change coming through. Still hotter than average on the eastern side, just ahead of that front, but the change is coming. Then we march over to New Zealand, and this is tomorrow, Saturday's departure from normal. The cold change doesn't get here till Sunday. So on Saturday, look at this, the South Island, a large portion inland, over 8 degrees above normal for this time of the year. That does happen in spring, so it is kind of normal, but we've had a run of this warmer than average weather all week, so that's what's a little bit unusual. So this is the forecast. Let's get into it. Here is Saturday. So the cold change from Australia, you can still see it holding on there to Melbourne and Hobart. The colder change is now moving towards New Zealand, but on Saturday itself, subtropical airflows for northern areas and windy nor'westers or northerly quarter winds for most other places. That's why it's going to be warm. Mostly dry as well, but the rain clouds here, there's the front, arrive into the late afternoon or evening for those of you in the west. On Sunday, happy Halloween, stuck at home. We've got that cold front moving out to the north of the country, so it's going to be a wet day. Into the evening, showers and windy conditions. So, even Mother Nature's suggesting that we stay home this year for Halloween, but there will be showers and a temperature drop coming in for southern areas. That is that cold change. And by the way, the temperatures drop several degrees, but that actually puts it back to where it should be. So yes, it drops a lot, but it's actually going back to normal for most places. As we get into Monday, the very 1st of November, low pressure just trying to form to the north. We've been seeing that on a few maps now for the last few days. It's stuck between that high and that high, so good luck to it. It's not in the best position to really grow. On the other side, there's the next low coming in for Western Australia to kick off your 1st of November, while the eastern side is looking very settled, quite pleasant, under high pressure. By Tuesday of next week, it looks as though that low might form just enough to bring in a bit of patchy rain to northern areas. Worth keeping a close eye on, because sometimes these systems can deepen a wee bit further, and as that high drops further to the south, that's going to encourage that low to have a little bit more room to move around in. So we'll keep an eye on it, but for now, it's not a major system at all. It's mostly offshore, and it's still colder for lower parts of the South Island as we get into that map. And our final one here shows exactly what I just said. As that high drops further south, that low has a chance of expanding a wee bit, but it's still not an aggressive system. What you're seeing through here, potentially gale force winds, in the squash zone between low pressure and high pressure. That's a windy southeasterly. The rain comes back into the eastern side of the North Island. Farmers over there really want that. So we hope that this is an accurate map and that we do get that rain next week, middle of next week, coming into the eastern side of the North Island and the upper South Island. Also, some wet weather coming back in to Adelaide. That's all from me. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you Monday.